Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tatiana and today I'm going to show you how and why we might need to play chords on the bass guitar. I would say that chords are a whole new dimension to your bass guitar playing, so let's get started. First, what is a chord? When some notes sound together, we have two options, intervals and chords. The bass guitar is typically used for a single note lines, and both chords and intervals are not very common for the bass guitar playing, and that makes them very interesting to play. An interval is two notes played together. It can be any two notes, like this, or even like this. A good example of using intervals in the bass line is the song Longview by Green Day. A chord is a group of notes played together, more than two. So literally this is a chord, but maybe not so nice one. These ones are better. And now, why we might need to play chords on the bass? First of all, to replace a guitar player. As my teacher used to tell me, learn how to play chords on the bass and fire away your guitarist. Actually, this is a joke. We all love and respect our guitar players, right? However, if you do not have a guitar player around and you need the chords for the accompaniment straight away, you can do this on the bass. Sometimes playing a duet with another bassist can require chords. For example, one is soloing and another one is playing chords, and after that they swap. For some creatively thinking people, adding chords on the bass into the arrangement can add some more interesting colors in music. Even if they have a guitar player and a keyboardist maybe who can play chords, they can use the chords on the bass. One interesting thing is underused in modern music, but it can be very interesting. It's singing with the chords on the bass. If the voice is quite low, like many men's voices, it would combine with the bass guitar chords very organically, like the higher voices combined with the guitar. If the voice is high, singing with the bass guitar chords can create a gap in medium frequencies, so we have high frequencies and low frequencies, and it would add some creative space into the music, showing how wide the space is. I'll probably use it myself in some of the future music pieces of mine. For my channel, I often play chords on the bass. It just makes music production easier for me, and I don't have to search for the guitar player every time when I need to produce a new track. I could play chords on the piano or the guitar or the ukulele, and sometimes I do.
I don't give a fuck about you anyways. Whoever say they give a shit about you.
But I quite like it on the bass, and it's usually already in my hands, so why not? Before we jump into the specific chords, there are some basics. First of all, you cannot play the chords with more than 4 notes on the 4-stringed bass, because you have just 4 notes, right? Not more. However, in most cases, you don't need many notes, and usually 3 are enough. The human's ear cannot distinguish the close located notes in low frequencies, and the lower they are, the muddier the sound is for us. Probably the whales or the other animals who can hear the ultra-low frequencies can enjoy it better than us. The film composers who score horrors very often use the very low located chords and clusters. That's why if you want more clear sound, just lift it all up. For example, instead of this note C, you can use this note C. Personally, I never play chords lower than on the fret 10. And I wouldn't recommend it to you either. But if the muddy and distorted sound is a part of your creative idea, of course, go for it. But usually no. For my channel, I also need to make sure that the frequencies of my bass guitar chords don't clash with the bass line. That's why I usually play the bass line lower than the fret 10 and my chords are higher than the fret 10. I also put the bass line and the chords in different sides of my panorama when I mix. Knowing basic arpeggio positions is very useful for playing chords so that you know where the notes are. I would recommend that you learn the basic arpeggio positions for the major 7th and the minor 7th chords. I think I'll make another video about how to play arpeggio on the bass, otherwise this one will be just too long. There are some basics shortly, just to get you a little bit more understanding in what you play when you play chords. First, take a root tone. For example, for the G major chord, this is G, this is the root tone. This is the location of the major 3rd. This is the location of a minor 3rd. This note also can be taken here, 3 frets above the root tone. So you have options here or here. For chords we use this. Now the 5th, it's here. Next string, skipping 1 fret. This is the 5th. If you skip the next string and press the string on the same fret below, it's the 7th. And this is the 7th plus. And this is the octave, which is the same note with the root tone. The same can be repeated for any root tone. For example, this is D, this is its major 3rd, its minor 3rd, this is its 5th, the octave, 7 plus and 7. Now you can just use these notes, combining them. Basically, you can play 1, 3 and 7 in one position. However, it sounds very distorted in the low register, so let's lift it up. This is my C again, and this is the same chord. Much clearer sound. I usually do not play chords on all 4 strings on the bass because the sound is clearer when there are not too many of them. It's still a low frequency instrument and I don't intend to play horror music. For playing chords, I usually use 2 different fingering options. The first is skipping the string E and playing only 3 strings, A, D and G. And the second option is skipping the string A so that I use only E, D and G. In the fingering I use, the lowest note is always a root tone. Okay, let's see the chords from the first positional option. I don't use the lowest string E, and I use only those 3 strings. This is the root tone, this is the major 3rd, this is the 7th. If you need the minor chord, you take the minor 3rd, 7th is still here. If you need plus 7, it's here, and this is an octave, the same note with the root tone. So you have options for different chords now. Playing chords with the 7th might be more preferable than playing chords without them. So sometimes it makes sense if you add the 7th, even if the chord chart is written without them.
In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie.
I'm actually not a singer, I'm just kidding. Without the 7th, the major chords will look like this: the root tone, the major 3rd and the octave. It's pretty comfortable to play. But for the minor chord, it's not so comfortable and it requires a big hand. You can switch to playing just the root tone, the 5th and the octave for the minor chords, but in this case you do not show if the chord is major or minor because these notes are the same for the major and minor chords. If you are adding the 7th to the chord chart which was written without the 7th, there is one more little thing. Usually for the major keys, the tonic chord has 7 plus. All the other chords usually have the usual 7th here, not 7 plus. And if the key is minor, the tonic chord will have the normal 7th either. Now the second positional option. Here we skip the A string. The fingering looks like this. You play the root tone, you skip the string A and you play the 7th, and here you will find the minor 3rd. If you want to find the 7th plus, you need to lift the 7th 1 semitone up and 1 more semitone up, that will be an octave, which is the same note with the root tone. It looks like this. The root tone, the 7th, and the 3rd. This is minor 3rd. And this is the major third. If I want the 7th plus, I find it here. There is no the 5th as well. Now, why do we need them in two different positional options? It's because you can combine them. For example, without the combining two different positional options, the chords for the song Summertime can sound like this. I'm going to play them using just the second positional option. And now I'll play the same chords combining two different positional options. Summertime. And go on. It's just easier to play without the big shifts of the hand position. Okay, now diminished and half diminished or semi-diminished chords. The diminished chords can look like this. The chord note, which is the root tone, and the little dim 7. Or it can look like this, with a little circle, it is the same. The fingering for a diminished chord can look differently, but I think the easiest way to play it is just putting your fingers in a stair-like position. In this case, you play the root tone, the low 5th, and the root tone again. So just two notes. This is my C diminished chord. I play the root tone, the low 5th, this is the 5th, this is the low 5th, and the octave. The semi-diminished chord can be written with that little circle crossed. Or it can look like this, like it's a minor 7th chord with the low 5th, and this is all the same. As for the both first and second positional options, we do not usually play the 5th, so the semi-diminished chord can be taken as you usually take your minor 7th chords, because you don't play the 5th anyway. If this is my G minor 7th chord, I also can use it as a G semi-diminished chord, the same. Or in this positional option, this is the C minor 7th chord, and it also serves as C semi-diminished chord. If you want to include some bass guitar chords in your playing in a band, I would say that the most effective way is probably not having too much of them. For example, you can include them just somewhere in the song, but not all the way through, so that you will keep that wow factor and your guitar player and your keyboardist wouldn't try to get rid of you. That's all for today's lesson on playing chords on the bass. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more bass guitar tutorials and tips. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching and happy bass playing!